Welcome back to the Super Good, Super Delicious podcast. My name is Carly with an EY, and today we are filming outside yet again. Let me just describe it for the audio listeners here, okay? The sun is shining, it is blue skies, it is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday, and there is not a single breeze. The grass is green, there's leaves everywhere on the ground, and it is like plus 8 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is, 50 something, I think, Fahrenheit, and it is gorgeous. I actually put an extra layer on, which is why I might look a little bit mismatched for the visual listeners, because I came out here when I was setting up and I'm like, it's a little nippy. But it's not even that nippy. Now that I'm sitting here and the sun is just beaming on me, I feel good. I could maybe take this off. I don't know. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to veganize some traditional recipes. And because holidays are coming up, I know I was really late with my Halloween episode. It was just how we ended up posting the episode. American Thanksgiving coming up at the end of the month, and of course December is coming, so Christmas and holidays and family get-togethers are happening, and that calls for veganizing some things, okay, and gluten-free, deglutenizing some things as well. So first off, I'm going to be referencing a turkey dinner, traditional turkey dinner, okay? Super easy to just make some swaps. Now, if you are vegan and not gluten-free, so easy, okay? There is something called seitan, made with wheat gluten. You can make this into a roast if you want to cook it yourself. There's plenty of recipes out there I like. It doesn't taste like chicken. Plenty of other people, probably Rainbow Plant Life, I would imagine, has a roast recipe as well. So many, okay, recipes you can just make yourself. That is perfect to replace the turkey if you don't feel like making anything. The grocery stores are a great place. They always, like, everywhere carries something. So we have Gardein, they have like cutlets, they have little roasts, they have, I've seen online, bigger roasts. Tofurkey is another one. They make some roasts. I'm not sure if they have variety, but I'm speaking mostly in Canada. There is one on the list. I think it's 365 Whole Foods. We don't have here, but when I was Googling, it did pop up. So I believe, now if you're American, you probably have way more options than we do here. Yeah, really nice for you guys. Field roast is another one that has a few options as well. Soul Cuisine, that's another one. I think I've actually tried the Soul Cuisine ones. I've tried the Gardeins, I've tried the Soul Cuisine, and I think I might have tried the Tofurkey prior to knowing I couldn't eat gluten. All of them are actually fairly delicious. I can't remember which one was my favorite. I think it was the Soul Cuisine one. It's harder to find previously when I had to find them. It was harder to find, but we were like, this is delicious. Like, it was a nice big size. And the last one, when I was just doing a quick look, because I don't think many of them are truly out in stores yet, was Gusta. And I didn't know that they actually made a roast, where I know they've just launched a bunch of new products in grocery stores, like beef strips and chicken strips, and then tuna. So you might have seen, I have tried the tuna. It's gluten-free, as like ingredients wise, it doesn't say gluten-free, but there's nothing in there. And then the other ones do have wheat in them, so have not tried those, but Clay has tried, for me, the beefless. I think he's tried, no, just the chicken, I think. He tried the chicken strips and he made it into like a nice little fajita wrap. He said it was delicious. So great things coming out of Gusta. So I would definitely look into the roast if you can find it, and if you can eat gluten, because probably it's going to have gluten. What I've discovered is mock chicken always contains gluten. I think that in the world of veganism, that seitan and wheat gluten are what can be flavored more so like chicken, and the texture is more like chicken. So that's why, like, all of chicken, like, I have yet to have a good gluten-free chicken, mock chicken nugget. I'm praying. I think I found one by like Unmeatable, but I don't know, for some reason I don't think I liked them or something. I honestly can't remember. But all of the beef options I usually have found are gluten-free. So, but that doesn't really work that well for like a turkey dinner. Okay, so it's a little bit more challenging. Oh yeah. Okay, so there is another option for the gluten eaters. Okay, you can go to local vegan restaurants and they always do holiday menus. So these people are just wonderful people. They always have like desserts, mains, sides. They got it all for holidays. And we have ordered in the past different things from like Coven and Hamilton. So it's really amazing that these people do this kind of thing, because there are those people, they're vegan and they just aren't that skilled at cooking. Okay, we always need the people that are really good at cooking and baking to give us the goods. Okay, so that is a third option, and there are other options as well, like cabbage rolls or things like that if you aren't a fan of like vegan turkey, etc. Okay, so something that I personally have done since becoming gluten-free is just try to make other things, other savory dishes that would be like a nice main in a big family feast dinner. So what I do is look for replacements to something that's just big and full of meat. So for example, on Thanksgiving for us, I just made a lentil loaf. So it's like a meatloaf, but no meat, obviously. And I just used grounds and lentils and a bunch of veggies, and you season it up like a meatloaf. You put the ketchup and everything, and it's delicious. Okay, so that's something more meaty that you could use. And then there are, of course, other options, like you could make a big ol' lasagna, veggie lasagna. I have a recipe up on my channel for a vegan lasagna. They're so easy, so simple. I mean, it takes forever, but so good. And who doesn't love a lasagna, you know? You could also do something like cabbage rolls and other casseroles like that to be a main as opposed to a traditional turkey or ham. Okay, that's what I like doing, because also it's not just the same old turkey dinner like every year, you know what I mean? Now, I'm sure eventually a vegan company is going to make a roast that is gluten-free. I don't think one exists. If you know one that exists, please let me know, because especially in Canada, because I don't think it exists. Okay, but I did find with some Googling a recipe that was tofu and, hold on, using tofu and chickpeas. So that's the base, and the recipe is by Vegan Risha. So that I'm saving, and I think I'll try it because tofu can be flavored however you want it, and the texture, soy is really good replacement for chicken. So like soy curls, for example, very much mimic chicken. So I'm thinking it will be really good. I can make it into a roast shape. I'm thinking about making stuffing. I'm not a stuffing fan, but maybe it's because I can't eat gluten. So making a gluten-free stuffing recipe to go in there, you know? So that is it for our main, okay? I mean, main, I don't know if that really makes sense. That is it for the big main meat part. This is what I would do. If you have any other recommendations, you know, let me know. This is just what I do for holidays since becoming gluten-free. It's a little bit more challenging being vegan, but we can make it happen. And I have had no complaints about a lentil loaf as a main or lasagna. So, you know, you just gotta get creative sometimes. And then, now let's talk about our sides, because you can have a great main, but you still need great sides to go along with it. Now, this is the part where we're gonna see our differences, okay? Now, I grew up in a really small town, a farm town, and I grew up with turkey or ham, potatoes, some type of vegetable like frozen peas, corn, yada yada, or some steamed like cauliflower mixture like that, okay? And maybe, or like steamed carrots, that kind of thing. Buns, like dinner rolls, gravy, cranberry sauce, not a fan, but cranberry sauce. Also was never a huge fan of gravy. Interestingly enough, I like vegan gravy though nowadays. So all of that for the sides, and then of course dessert. So pumpkin pie, like a jello with fruit mixed in it, pie, pumpkin pie, I don't know if I said apple pie, things like that. That is what I grew up with. So this is coming based off of that type of raised behavior. That is what I was grown with, raised with. And if you're any different, then apply to okay. So if we're gonna veganize everything, a lot of those things are vegan. It's super easy, like all the vegetables, mashed potatoes, super easy to just switch. You just swap out the milks. I recommend the Next milk. I think Notco has a good milk as well, which is no sweetness. Okay, every other milk I've tried, even if it says unsweetened, there is an aftertaste of sweetness, okay? Not a vibe, not my vibe, okay? So, but if you're not a fan of any of the milks, I have used vegetable broth in mashed potatoes. Pretty delicious, okay? Not as creamy, but you can always put in some tofutti cream cheese. I'm a big fan of BioLife too. Throw in some cream cheese in there. This one that I got locally from the Gluten-Free Expo, Humble Seeds, they make an insane garlic and herb cream cheese. It is so good, and we put that in some mashed potatoes. They were unbelievable. They were the best mashed potatoes I ever made. So, you know, you can always spice up your mashed potatoes, and I'm sure as long as you don't go too much with the vegan cream cheeses and sour cream, stuff like that, no non-vegan will be able to tell. They will just eat the mashed potatoes like nothing. Okay. I mean, you could even do a different style of potato dish of like deviled potatoes or something on the side, but I grew up with a good old mashed potato. So, or roasted potato, no, mashed potato. So, super easy to swap for mashed potatoes. And then we have buns. So, being gluten-free makes it more difficult, but if you're just vegan, buns are super easy. You just go to a store, you grab some, or you have a recipe. Okay, let me share my vegan dinner roll. I mean, most bread recipes are vegan, to be honest. Let me share my recipe with you. Clay was addicted to these. They're his favorite things ever, and if I wasn't so paranoid about using flour and baking with flour, I would make them for him, but we ain't about that life. I have celiac, okay? I'm not going to purposefully inhale flour. Okay, so with that said, our recipe for dinner rolls, vegan dinner rolls, okay, these are the best things ever. 2 tablespoons of sugar, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 pack of instant yeast, or whatever the measurement, I think it's like 2 teaspoons and 1/4 of a teaspoon from a jar. 2 cups of flour, half a cup of unsweetened milk, 1/4 cup of water, and 2 tablespoons of butter. So we're gonna start with combining some of the dry ingredients. Now you're only going to combine 3/4 of a cup of the flour with the yeast, sugar, and salt. So out of the 2 cups, you start with 3/4 of a cup. And then in a pot, warm up the water, milk, and butter just until it's warm, because we don't want to kill our yeast, right? So I think it's about 100 degrees if you have a thermometer, but just until it's warm. So if you can put your finger in it and you're not burning your finger, it's good. You do not want it to be too hot that you cannot put your finger in it, because that is asking to kill the yeast. We don't want that. We don't want no killed yeast, okay? You're going to add the wet to the dry, and that is the dry of the 3/4 of a cup of flour with the yeast and sugar and salt. Now, you whisk that up, switch to a beater, hand mixer, that's what I used to use. You're gonna add in a 1/4 cup of flour and beat for 2 minutes, okay? Now, you're just gonna wanna add in the flour little by little until it makes a dough. And then you knead it and you let it rest for 10 minutes. Once it's rested, you take it out of the bowl, divide it into 12 pieces or however many you want. 12 is a good size. Roll them into little balls. You get an 8x8, or I like to use a cake pan because then it's in a nice little uniform circle. You grease it, cover it, let them rise to 30 to 45 minutes. Once that's done, take it off, preheat your oven to 375, brush those tops with some melted butter, cook them 18 to 20 minutes. As simple as that. And they have a beautiful brown. They are soft. They are a little bit sweet, which I think a dinner roll should be. Beautiful, addicting. Like, I would eat them, but this is the weird thing because then the next day I would try to eat a bun again and it would be gross. It would taste so disgusting to me. And it's so funny because I didn't know I couldn't eat gluten, and this was like my body being like, you shouldn't eat this, it's gross. But I didn't know. That's the bun recipe. I am going to try to make that gluten-free. So I think what I would do is just swap the flour. Just use the 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, I think is what I would try, because I have learned that the all-purpose gluten-free flour is chickpea based, is a little bit denser. So when you use the lighter rice flours, it makes for a more fluffier, better. So that's what I'm gonna try eventually and see how it goes, because I miss those buns. So even I was talking to my mom and she was like, you know, I really miss your aunt's buns. Her homemade buns are so good. And she's like, I wish there was a pill I could take so I could eat her buns one more time. And yeah, so nothing beats a homemade bun, okay? Okay, but if you don't want to go through the effort of that, local vegan bakeries local gluten-free bakeries probably have some nice buns for you, okay? But if you want to just go to the store, the Char brand, SCHAR, I believe, love their ciabatta buns. You have to heat them up before you eat them, but they are unreal good. Like, they're so good, and they're a little bit more expensive, so that's why I don't buy them very often. But also, I'm not a big bun person anyways. They are so good, so delicious. Okay, I would definitely have those ciabatta buns on the side of like a mashed potatoes and a lentil loaf. I'm gonna try that recipe for that gluten-free vegan roast. I gotta do it. Now, gravy, super easy. I'm not really picky with gravy though. I said I didn't like gravy, but like, I'm not picky. I don't really, other than the texture, I don't want it to be too goopy, like snot, you know. I want it to be nice. But I'm not very picky. So the recipe, I'll give you the recipe that I normally use. It's so easy, okay? It's literally vegetable broth, onion powder, nutritional yeast, soy sauce, Dijon mustard, and all-purpose flour, which you can substitute and use cornstarch. I do find the cornstarch will make it a little bit goopy, snotty, okay? But the flour, I would make sure the flour has xanthan gum in it, or else it won't really, because that's why you add flour usually, is because it has gluten, so it makes it a thick, nice gravy. So you want to make sure the flour you use has xanthan gum in it in order to get the thickening, okay? Yeah, I'm not going to give you guys the actual measurements. I feel like maybe that's a little bit too much, okay? So that's my go-to for gravy. Super easy, super delicious. You literally just put it all in a pot, mix it up, boom, heat it up, you're good. Lastly, let's chit chat about desserts. Now, the holidays call for a wide variety of treats and tricks. No, just kidding. Treats, okay? Everyone's different. Everyone likes different things around the holidays. I'm a huge fan of pumpkin pie, apple pie, but to be honest, the pumpkin pie is my favorite. It is my favorite, and it is the easiest. I do have recipes on my YouTube channel for pumpkin pie, apple pie, pecan pie, okay, and pie crust. So for someone that doesn't like pie, I've made quite a few pie recipes. One that I really want to try though is a sweet potato pie. Now I have no idea what that tastes like. Is it really like similar to a pumpkin pie where it's just sweet and deliciousness? I think so. I'm a big fan of sweet potatoes, so I'm gonna try that one for you guys. Maybe you'll see it by Christmas time on my YouTube, maybe. One thing I had mentioned prior, Jello with the fruits in it. Is this a Canadian thing? Super delicious. Now, I haven't tried very many vegan Jellos. Obviously, if you're not vegan, then you don't care. But I have not tried very many. I have tried like one in the past, and it's pretty good. I have not tried putting fruit in it though. I mean, you could also just do whatever you like. There's so many creators out there that make great recipes, vegan, gluten-free, whatever you need, okay? And honestly, a lot of people won't notice if it's a good recipe. A non-vegan won't notice if the cupcakes are vegan. Gluten-free people, you gotta have a good recipe, because I mean, my recipes, I have been told that these do not taste gluten-free. So that's what you want to go for. If you're new to baking, obviously you have to try and you have to do things to make it right. But I would highly recommend learning, because it's hard to find in places like in stores and stuff, unless you have a local bakery, which then I would recommend just go and grab some of those, the favorites. A good one as well actually is Nanaimo bars. Nanaimo bars are very easy. They're already normally gluten-free. So that's something that could be very simple to make as well. Okay, so to wrap this up, I'm going to let you in on what I'm going to be doing for Christmas. I know it's kind of far away, but I'm already thinking about what I'm going to be doing for that recipe, for that meal. Okay, so I'm definitely going to try that vegan Risha, their recipe for a tofu chickpea roast that mimics a turkey roast. Gonna try that one. Gonna try and make gluten-free stuffing. I've never really been a fan, but I feel like if I make a nice gluten-free one, maybe I'll like it. So we'll do that. And then I might try butter tarts, because the pecan pie was really good. So if I can just use the proper, not poke holes in the crust, if you have seen that video, it won't leak through, and I can make some good butter tarts, probably. Cinnamon buns, those are real easy. They're normally like vegan if you just swap the butter. Gluten-free, I haven't made cinnamon buns, so I'm gonna have to try. It's definitely usually a Christmas thing. Cinnamon buns, mashed potatoes, of course, and then Rainbow Plant Life. She has an amazing squash soup recipe, so probably gonna make a squash soup recipe. Now, I might not do all of this because there is a lot, okay? It takes a long time to make all this food in one go. We'll steam or roast some veggies, asparagus, carrots, zucchini, a bunch of things. I'm down for the roasting. I like steamed. So we'll do a bunch of steamed or roasted veggies. I'm gonna try and make those buns gluten-free, okay? And you know that I'm gonna film it and I'll put it up on YouTube for all to see, especially. Actually, probably either way, if they turn out or if they don't. And of course, some gravy. I don't know if my family likes cranberry sauce, so probably ignore that. But to visualize a picture, a mock turkey roast stuffed with stuffing on the side, mashed potatoes, garlic mashed potatoes, a soup, butternut squash soup, steamed or roasted veggies, gravy, homemade buns. I think that sounds like a lot of work. But I think that sounds delicious. That sounds like a good holiday meal to me. Like I said, even if I swapped out and maybe did a lentil loaf again, it's a good meaty replacement. I could try that. You know, I like to experiment more with oyster mushrooms because I see so many good recipes with oyster mushrooms, and you could probably make a really good like pulled chicken or something, you know, pulled pork replica using oyster mushrooms. And then for dessert, of course, we'll see. My family gets sick of pumpkin pie if I make it too much, so we will do I'll probably do a pumpkin pie. I do have a can of pumpkin still from leftover, and I might try butter tarts, or I might try and make a sweet potato pie because I've never made one before. And you know, here we're all about the experiments, okay? I'm always experimenting. Oh, actually, I'm gonna mention, I had just found, I forget her name, but I had just found another allergy queen. Vegan, gluten-free, I believe all of her stuff is, and I don't know if she has like I think she's just does online like YouTube and whatnot for recipes and all of that. I don't know if she does like pop-ups or anything like that. I think she's in Hamilton here in Ontario, and I think her name's Dolly. So I just found her page, and she kind of does little podcast episode as well, it looks like. I followed her for like 2 days now, so this is just what I've seen. And yeah, she's giving really good tips about gluten-free baking and all that. And so I'm chiming into her, hopefully learn something, because I just realized she had said something that totally contradicts what I have told people. She said that you don't want to overwork xanthan gum because it can make things gummy. But I have read to slightly overwork xanthan gum or flour with xanthan gum in it in order for things to be fluffy and do the opposite. So in my cake recipe, it was gummy all the time, my chocolate cake recipe. And then I read how it cannot be gummy, and it was to like beat the batter. And I did, and I thought it helped. So I don't know if it's very specific to each recipe. And also, I beat the F out of my pancake batter. Like, I whip that stuff, and they're fluffy and not gummy. So I don't know, maybe it just depends on how much xanthan, because I do a mixture of the 1-to-1 gluten-free flour and the all-purpose flour, which the all-purpose doesn't have xanthan. So maybe it's that there's not too much xanthan. I'm not about to go and experiment like that because I'm scared of diarrhea. Too much xanthan gum can cause digestive issues, and I'm not about to trial that. So that is my plan, to not do that. But yeah, so I'll include her at in the information, and in the information, the description and everything like that. So you can check her out as well if you're curious. She had mentioned, the reason I found her is because one of my favorite gluten-free vegan, they're very, very, very allergy-friendly bakeries in Burlington, here in Ontario. They're amazing. Their cupcakes and everything, their cupcakes are my favorite. Like, they're incredible. Like, I go there for my birthday every year usually, and I just get cupcakes and milkshakes and everything because they're so damn good. Anyways, they have a cookbook, but I think it's like $36, like almost $40. So I've never bought it because I'm like, it's a little steep for my liking. I'm like I'll just look online, or like $20-$25. I don't really like spending that much more on cookbooks when like I can find recipes online and make my own. But I'm really thinking, because they're so, like, they are gluten-free and their stuff's so good, I am really thinking next time I go, I'm gonna have to buy the cookbook and start trying their recipes for you guys, because unreal good, okay? And then I can also kind of see the ingredients. I like to spy on ingredients and see, because I'm a very simple, I like to just combine the 2 flours that got everything in them, okay? I don't like, I've said it before, I don't like to have 5 different flours in my recipe because it's so finicky, and I don't want to also spend $100 on flour. I already spent enough on the flours we have. I don't want to spend $10 on 10 different flours that I'm going to use. That's just me though. I would like to get to that point where it will be worth it, but when I'm still experimenting with gluten-free, I do not want to be just wasting money like that, okay? Gluten-free stuff is expensive, okay? So that is my take on the holidays. If I come up with anything else, oh, you know what else? A good drink. My favorite hot chocolate brand, since we're talking about the holidays. Favorite hot chocolate, Castle Kitchen. Unreal good. Hot chocolate powder. Heat up some milk. You put that powder in there. It's good with water too, but milk is better. Creamier if you like creamy. And it is so good. It is like Nestle hot chocolate, and it is delicious. Super good and super delicious. So that is my favorite hot chocolate brand, powder, and I will never try anything else. I will not, because it is perfection. Shout out Castle Kitchen. That is it for my holiday episode, coming to you at the end of November. Maybe I'll talk more about the holidays later, in December at some point. We'll see. Maybe I'll try some recipes, and then I'll end up having to make another episode of my trials and errors. Thank you so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed my takes and my veganization and deglutenization of these traditional meals, this traditional holiday feasts. And I hope I gave you a little bit of inspiration as well, because I know it can be hard out there, and sometimes it's overwhelming looking for recipes. So yeah, I hope I can help you guys with that. Looking forward to baking and cooking for the holidays coming up in Christmas time, because obviously our Canadian Thanksgiving already passed. So I will be focusing on not holiday things right now. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope you, oh my god, I'm starting to see my breath. It's getting chilly out, y'all. Time to go inside. The sun is setting and I'm getting chilly. So thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Good, Super Delicious podcast. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.